Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Deleted. My 23 female sister, 31 female, left her son, 3 male, with me, with no indication of when she will be back. A little background first. My sister has always had a lot of emotional issues. Almost no one in the family speaks to her because of all the problems she has created. Her son's father has never been involved, no idea where he is. My husband, 24 male, and I have been married for almost a year. We do not have any children. My sister and I used to be very close, but had a major falling out about 6 months ago and have had limited contact since. 6 days ago, she sent me a text asking if I could watch her son for the evening. This was a little unusual since we hadn't spoken much, but I had been seeing my nephew somewhat regularly during the 6 months of limited contact, so it wasn't extremely bizarre. Later that evening, she texted that she wouldn't be able to pick him up that night and that she would be over in the morning. We were somewhat annoyed, but no big deal. We love our nephew. The next morning, she didn't show up. I tried texting and calling to no avail. I stayed home from work to watch my nephew. We were worried, but she has disappeared for an evening before, so not worried enough to call the police or anything. We didn't hear from her until the next day, when she texted me saying she was on a vacation out of state with her new boyfriend and wouldn't be back for a while. Note, she is in the middle of a divorce. Her soon-to-be ex is not my nephew's father. At this point, I was very upset, and my husband even more so. We tried to talk to her via calls and texts and did not receive any meaningful responses. When I asked for a specific date, she said, "I'm not sure yet." I had been trying to call her every day, but last night she finally answered. She started breaking down crying about all the horrible things in her life and how she never had a chance and how much she hates her ex and hates society and hates our parents. Just pretty much anything you can whine about, she covered. She told me it was too much to take care of her son. She was going to start her life over with her new boyfriend. I asked her again when she was going to get her son. She told me, "I'm not coming back." I have no effing idea what to do. My husband is extremely upset about being involved in all of this. We both love our nephew dearly, and we don't want to see him end up in foster care or something. But this is just crazy. We have just had a 3-year-old dropped in our laps, right before Christmas. I have already had to find a babysitter for when I'm at work. We've had to buy clothes and toys for him. My husband refuses to be left alone with my nephew because my sister has made false molestation claims against other family members in the past. This is a huge strain on us financially and emotionally. We know we aren't ready to have kids and weren't planning to for years. We don't really have any other family, no other siblings. Our parents were abusive. Neither my sister nor I talked to them for years. I don't know where else he would go if he's not with his mother. We are trying to keep things happy and positive in front of him, but he's been asking for his mommy. I don't know what to tell him. Oh man, OP, this sucks. My heart breaks for that little boy. And your sister? Well, she's just a horrible mother. She doesn't deserve to be a mom. You need to report abandonment. I don't know if you call the police or CPS for this thing, but you need to tell an authority that this boy has been abandoned. You've done a lot for him already, and if you can hold him off a little bit longer until you can find a family member. It doesn't have to be a direct family member. It could be maybe from his father's side of the family. I don't know, but some family member that would be willing to take him in and take care of him. I absolutely understand that it is not fair at all for you and your husband to be put in this situation by your selfish sister, but that boy needs to be properly taken care of before you try to hand him off to somebody else. So when you call to report this, I would tell your sister that you're doing so. She deserves to face the consequences of her actions. These type of people honestly just make me angry because of, well, the poor children. They have no fault in this whole issue. However, the way I personally feel about OP's sister doesn't come into play in this story. And what do you guys think OP should do? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Just Words in Your Head says, "This is very sad. First, sit down with your husband and discuss what you guys want to do or can afford to do. I want you both to be clear that you are under no obligation to raise your nephew. You need to call the authorities and let them know that your sister has abandoned her child in your care. Talk to a lawyer about your options. The lawyer will ask you what you want to do. If you don't want to adopt your nephew, then the police need to track down your sister and bring her back. If she still refuses to raise her child, she will be charged with abandonment. Also, try to find his father. If his father is a piece of crap, find his father's parents. Go down a list of family members to find any good, upstanding person who is willing and capable to take on the responsibility of raising your nephew. Now, if you and your husband do want to adopt your nephew, then you still find your sister. She needs to be charged with abandonment. Not sure if adoption services will need anything from her, but still, better to find her for this. Talk to a lawyer about what process to follow in order to adopt your nephew. That poor boy. Your sister is a coward. She doesn't deserve to have a child, but she still needs to be responsible for her actions. If anything, make sure she is actually punished for abandoning her child. K-Rad said, a lot of the broad strokes have been covered here. Contact authorities, try to contact father, etc. But try to keep your husband at the front of your thoughts as well. He married you, not your sister, and he's now getting roped into her BS, and it sounds like he's already reaching his limits for what he can handle. You two are a team, and no decision here can be made unilaterally. Talk to him, ask him what he prefers, and then decide what is best for everyone, nephew and husband both included. The last thing your nephew needs is to be living with two people fighting and on the brink of divorce because they weren't ready for a child. Wish You Were Here says, this exact scenario happened to me 4 months ago with my sister and her 2-year-old. She left 3 kids with my mom, the baby with me, and hasn't returned since. My parents called CPS and the kids were made foster children with my parents as they're acting foster parents. This prevents my sister from doing anything weird or running off with them. The man she is with is a known abuser. My parents have access to healthcare, childcare, and the appropriate income to support the kids while CPS tracks down my sister and decides how they're going to handle the case in the long term. If you're not willing or able to keep him in your home, they will seek other family members to place him with, between your family and his biological dad's family. And if that fails, they will likely extend their search to include extended family before resorting to placing him with strangers. But you must call. Please call as soon as possible. Alright, well, the community raised points even better than I did, but basically the same. This needs to be reported, the sister needs to face consequences for her actions, and she must be accused of abandonment. Unfortunately, OP didn't reply to any comments or leave an edit or a short update or anything like that to give us more context. So now let's just move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you all so much for the advice and support. Sorry, it's taken a while for the update. We were actually dealing with another family tragedy on my husband's side. We just got back from an emergency cross-country trip to his hometown. There's been so much chaos, there's no way I can possibly write out everything that has happened. Anyway, we had my nephew through the holiday and it was very nice. We got him several nice gifts, including a desired robot toy. My husband made an awesome turkey dinner. Nephew and I decorated a gingerbread house. It was a very nice day. We decided we were not going to be able to parent my nephew. He's not in foster care though. My cousin and her husband offered to take him in. I think they are a fantastic choice. They had actually wanted to adopt from CPS at one point, so they already know some things about the system. They are in their 30s, the husband has a good job, wife is a stay-at-home mom. They own a house in the suburbs with a yard. They already have a 1-year-old little boy. They live a little far from us, but we are going to make visiting a priority. We definitely want to be involved in our nephew's life. We love him very much and we want to be sure he knows that as he gets older. We haven't been able to visit yet, but we FaceTime with him and he seems to be happy. That's all I want for him. I don't know exactly what happened with my sister. When she found out I had called CPS, she completely flipped out. Somehow, the cops ended up at the hotel she and the boyfriend were staying at. She threatened to end her life and ended up in a mental hospital. I don't know what happened to the boyfriend. While she was in the hospital, she called me. She told me she was going to come to our house and hurt our dogs so that I would know what it feels like. She also said she was going to ruin our careers and might burn our house down, but she hasn't decided yet. I relayed all this to the facility she was at, but she was only there a week, I guess because she didn't actually try to end her life. Yay, mental health system. She's now living with her soon-to-be ex-husband in the apartment my sister and nephew were living in before all this happened, in the city we live in. I've talked to the husband some. I guess he feels bad for her. I think she's getting some sort of continued care, but I'm worried she will have more problems down the road. There were a lot of reasons why we decided we weren't able to take care of my nephew. We talked to lawyers and researched as much as we could. We started to get an idea of what our lives would actually be like if we had taken him. We would be under the microscope of the state, would have to agree to do everything their way, would be going to court and having home studies. Our marriage would have been scrutinized, and my history of abuse delved into. We would have been deeply involved with my sister and whatever drama will happen with her. CPS will do everything they can to return my nephew to my sister. We could have easily had him with us for a year, completely turned our lives upside down, just to have him returned. My cousins know that may happen to them, but I think they will be able to handle it better. If it had just been a no strings attached, no bureaucracy, instant adoption, we would have done it, but that's not the real world. Not that I'm saying it should be. Another smaller factor, much smaller, was financial. Our state does not provide stipends for kinship placements. We are very thankful to have a good income, but would not have qualified for any other kind of assistance. Nephew would have been on Medicaid though, I think. I admit there were some selfish reasons too. We aren't ready to give up our double income no kids lifestyle. We didn't want to have any resentment towards our nephew for changing that. I've worked very hard to get away from the dysfunction of my family. It has not been easy to build a stable life for myself, financially and emotionally. Being entwined in a custody battle with my unstable sister would have undone a lot of what I have worked for. This was by far the most difficult decision we have ever made. It's been extremely emotionally draining. I've cried every day since this has happened. I second guess myself all the time and go over every detail in my head. Combined with the tragedy in my husband's family, it's just been awful. He's even more broken than I am. We are doing well together though, which I'm so thankful for. There have been almost no arguments between us. It has brought us closer. I know we will get through it eventually. I just hope. This has been the worst month of our lives. I don't know what the future holds for my nephew. I fear he will have a very difficult life. Well, Opie, I think you guys made the right decision and handled things properly. Now, the only thing I hope is that your sister never has the chance to get close to her son again. That poor boy. He seems to be loved with your cousin and her husband, and hopefully things go their way and they are able to adopt him. But at this point, that's just wishful thinking. Thank you so much for sharing, Opie, and all the best in the future. Take care. Now, let's move on to a mood booster post, definitely. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Deleted. Client wants us to create a design exactly like their ugly PowerPoint. We comply. As a designer, I try to educate my clients on design and why something has to be done a certain way. My agency is not cheap, so we make it quite clear that they are paying for our experience and knowledge, not some Photoshop monkey. Most of the time, my clients are appreciative and enjoy the extra guidance and professional advice. Occasionally, we get fun jobs. The sales pitch went well enough. The business owner, Bob, seemed like a decent guy and happy to trust our professional expertise. However, shortly after signing the deal, he brought on a new manager, Karen, who was put in charge of marketing, including the new website we were just contracted to do. It quickly became clear that Karen thought of herself as a multidisciplinary genius and despises us because she thinks she can do better than a professional design agency. Karen loves sending over incomprehensible design instructions and feedback in the form of design mock-ups she creates in PowerPoint. They are as ugly as the devil's butthole after a strong curry, but we try our best to translate the abominations she birthed into good-looking professional design proposals that best reflect the intent of her ideas. Karen did not like it one bit. Karen was rude, uncooperative, and removed Bob from the email threads when we tried to reach out to him to get his opinion. When we sent over a design, she would bitch about how it wasn't what she wanted and scream over the phone while our team patiently explained why we couldn't design exactly as she wanted. Mainly, it would be ugly as heck and nobody would want to do business with them with a website like that. The last time Karen bitched about how we were stupid morons for not doing what she wanted, we got her on the phone with Bob. She was screaming incomprehensibly and nobody got a word in. Finally, Bob took her side and said, "Karen is extremely experienced and knows what she's doing. I want your team to follow every instruction exactly as she asks." No problem. Once again, Karen sent over a ridiculous 70 megabyte PowerPoint. If we followed it exactly, it would look like a website from the 90s with the worst user experience ever. We went through every little pixel of her PowerPoint presentation, asking her, "So, do you want us to copy this exactly?" To which she would reply with a smug, "Yes." So we documented her instructions down to the letter to cover our asses. Once again, we asked Bob, "Are you sure?" And he replies, "Yes, please hurry up and make those changes exactly as she asked." Okie dokie. We copied every ugly font choice, every terrible gradient, and every hideous element into the design. We even went the extra mile to export the ugly lopsided shapes she drew as .png graphics so it would all be exactly as she wanted. Then we sent the design over. "Here is the design. We have done everything exactly as instructed." Karen once again replied, taking Bob out of the loop, "Perfect. Now, it wasn't so hard to do things exactly as I asked, was it?" Winky face. We waited. Bob exploded, demanding a meeting the very next day to explain why we were delivering such shoddy work. We go to the meeting and Karen starts demanding that we propose a completely new design. We presented all past designs, the document in which Karen confirmed that she wanted all the changes, the countless emails in which we painstakingly explained to her why her ideas suck, and finally, the last email in which she praised us. "You see, Bob, after our last call with you, we had followed Karen's instructions to the letter, exactly as she had asked. She seemed very happy with it. I am confused. Why the quick change of heart?" I then pull out the contract and calmly point out the portion which stated the number of design proposals we would create. Karen had used up all of it. I had reminded her that she was limited to X number of proposals, but she clearly didn't remember any of it because she didn't bother reading our emails and would keep talking or yelling over us when we spoke on the phone. I looked Bob in the eye and told him he could either pay extra for each additional new proposal Karen wants or choose from the existing designs done. They asked for some time to discuss it privately. We break for coffee. Back from the break, Bob says, "Well, Karen is extremely experienced in this field. We will go with the last design since it is exactly as she wanted." Even my intern couldn't hold back his surprise. As we drive back to the office, he asks, "Is Karen sleeping with Bob or something? Why does she have him by the balls like that?" I shrug. It's his business and we were getting paid anyway, and he clearly doesn't appreciate our design expertise after all. The less time we spend arguing with them, the more time we could use to focus on more appreciative, good clients. We make Bob and Karen sign off on the design and finish up the project quickly. Karen still tries to be difficult, but we stick to the contracted terms and she couldn't do anything. 2 months after the project ended, I get a call from Bob. He began with some small talk about innocuous project-related business, but I realized it wasn't the purpose of his call. Karen had been fired after making more serious mistakes, causing major losses to his company. He sounded contrite but did not offer any real apology. "That's terrible, Bob. I'm so shocked. I thought Karen was extremely experienced and knew what she was doing." Well, OP, you guys followed it to the letter, did the best you could. Poor Bob. But not your monkeys and not your circus. Thanks for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.